Honest, I feel like I should show up to this rave. Imagine someone wearing a fucking Columbia shirt and these fucking shorts just going like. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the HGO podcast, where it's E3, so we're all hyped as hell because everything's happened. Wow, can you believe it? What a great Bethesda conference. I mean, we haven't seen it because we're pre-recording it, but what a great E3. Welcome back.
I can't believe Square Enix announced the cool thing.
I'm
so proud of them.
I can't believe it. But no, welcome back to the HGO podcast. I'm Ethan. With me as always is the boys, Hunter and Kyle. Hey guys, you doing alright?
I'm doing swell, thank you.
But no, we're coming off the hype of E3 because fuck all's happened, like genuinely. Like, I want to do a big hype intro because the only things we've seen are the fucking Jeff Keighley Summer Game Fest, which was that bad that I recorded a reaction that's never going up.
Ethan was the only one there.
Yeah, the Koch Media event that was so bad that I think everybody cried that watched it. Like, I just remember fucking Kind of Funny people genuinely just started like crying with laughter after it was over because literally it just had a fucking JPEG that said stream over and they were just laughing at it.
Earlier today when I took my shower, I left their reactions on as like background noise, and I listened to them talk about what Greg was going to name his kid for an entire conversation, and if they were still on just the developer of the game talking about whatever it was.
Yeah, it sounded about right.
Yet.
Everyone was just running away. That was my favorite part. Was like I think Greg just left for 20 minutes and then came back and was just like, yeah, hi, and just stuff like that. Like, it was a terrible event. And then the Ubisoft thing happened and they announced Mario and Rabbids and that was about it. But no, welcome back. We're not here to talk about E3 this week.
Rabid Rosalina now exists.
Hell
Do with that what you will.
More importantly, Rabid Luma exists, whatever the fuck that is. That thing's glorious.
An abomination.
That thing is glorious. Like, honestly, when I saw that, I could see how angry that would make people. I was like, that's perfect. That's brilliant. But no, we're not here to talk about E3. We're going to talk about that next week because, like we said, we're recording this Saturday night. We've not seen Bethesda, we've not seen Xbox, we've not seen Square, we've not seen Nintendo. We're here to talk about game releases. We're here to talk about mainly 2 games, Guilty Gear, Strive, and Rack, Attack, Rift Apart. You've inverted it. Dirty.
Look at Hunter with a fancy box.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a really cool picture too.
Where is it? I can't reach. It's too high up on the shelf.
Ethan, what happened to not moving for an hour?
Well, we've already fucked that, haven't we? No, I've got it. There we go. My third PS5 game. So we've got plenty to talk about here on HGO. Welcome back. If you're new here, we're not usually this hectic at the start, but we're here to talk about everything that's hot in the world of gaming. Rate us on podcasts, like this video, blah, blah, blah. Subscribe on YouTube. We're nearly at 100. We've had a boost recently. People have found our channel. Thank you for finding us. And thank you for subscribing and liking and all that. Hunter did a review of Returnal that I edited that went up last Friday. And a lot of you have watched it, so thank you for that. If you could go and give it a bit of support.
Yeah, got a huge surge today.
Yeah,
genuinely shocking. I went to bed last night and it had 11, and now
it was really bad. Yeah, it was really bad because it was like in the first hour it had like 3 views, and I was like, I was one of them, and I'm like, that's bad. And then I went to sleep, and then like 30 odd other people had just shown up and watched it, so it was nice. Thank you. Please continue to support that video.
It took me a few hours to watch it because normally I'm just like, oh, I already know what happens because I made it, so I just did it. But then I'm like, oh wait, Ethan edited this.
Yeah, I did.
I guess I better look.
But no, that was fun. We'll also probably have reactions for Bethesda, Xbox, and Square up if they're good. Because I'm not just putting shit out. So there we go. We'll see. Anyway, thank you for all of your support as of recent as we continue to go down this hype week of E3. I'm not putting the sunglasses back on because these aren't even my sunglasses. They're not even like... I can't see through them. It's great. They're not just not my sunglasses. They're somebody else's and they're prescription sunglasses. So I genuinely cannot see in them. So I'm not going to bother. But hey, there we go. Let's get into new game releases. We're going to start off... Kyle will be surprised with Guilty Gear. We're actually going to start with Guilty Gear.
Wow. I'm never first.
Yeah, we always make Kyle wait, and I thought it'd be nice if we just let Kyle take the lead. As always, if you don't care about Guilty Gear, or you can always go to the timestamps down below there'll be a Ratchet section if you're just here to hear us talk about Ratchet. And hey, if you're just here to listen to us talk about Guilty Gear, then congratulations, you don't have to skip anywhere. You can just leave after we're done. It's great. So, Guilty Gear, Kyle. How much time have you put into it?
Good question.
12.
Probably about 10 hours so far.
Okay. Cool. It came out on Friday. It was out on Monday for early access. Kyle got it on Friday. Because just because we're all peasants here, we buy the peasant editions, and we're gonna love it. So, for those who are not in the know, what is Guilty Gear and what is Guilty Gear Strive exactly? For those people who are not used to fighting games,
I mean, it's just a very basic 1v1 2D fighter. You know, 2 people enter, 1 person comes out. It doesn't get any simpler than that.
Mm-hmm.
Rounds are played best of 3, 99-second timer. Yeah, small roster of like 13 characters to start with. They've already announced a season pass coming.
Of course they have. It's
later.
a fucking fighting game. Like, genuinely, it'll have like 6 fighting. It'll have 6 season passes. Don't you worry.
Mm-hmm. Small roster is pretty nice. Nice base work to get familiar with, learn the matchups, and I think it really helps new players not be overwhelmed. If you boot up a game like Smash Bros, for example, where there's like a million characters, people are like, okay, where do I even start with this?
If you're just buying it, then they'll only give you 8.
Oh, right. Smash Bros is dumb, dude. I forgot they started with only 8.
Don't get me started on that, because it was really dumb as well, because it was literally like rolling the fucking dice on what characters unlocked as well. It wasn't even like, oh, it'll unlock in this order, and this order. It was like, genuinely, it was like, if you don't do World of Light, then good fucking luck to you. Salut. Roll the dice, we'll see what happens. And it was really dumb, and I hated it.
Yeah, I genuinely forgot Smash Bros started you out with 8 characters.
To be fair, I forgot, but when I got my new Switch in 2020... I forgot to download the cloud save for Smash, because I was like, it's Smash, I don't need a fucking cloud save or whatever. And it just gave me the 8 characters, and I'm like, oh no, we don't. We're not doing this. Give me the cloud save. I'm not unlocking all this shit again. Like, oh. Terrible idea, because it didn't help you with matchups either, because you got a new character like every 2 matches or whatever, so it wasn't even...
Yeah, like every time I did the classic mode for somebody, it just, someone else was ready to go.
That's what I did.
Which... Yeah.
To be fair, my favorite
few days doing that.
My favorite part of that is if you do have the DLC now and you boot it up for the first time, it's the 8 characters plus the DLCs. So it's just really funny when you look at the roster like that, and it's like, oh yeah, it's 8 people, and if you like buy specific ones, you could be like, oh yeah, the roster is the original 8, and then it's Joker, Byleth, Minecraft
Hero.
Steve, and Banjo and Kazooie. That's your roster for Smash Ultimate. It was like, yeah. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Smash. Jack's not here. We're here.
That's next week.
That's next week when we cry. No, it's all
over
about Guilty
Bandana
Gear.
Waddle Dee.
Yeah. So Guilty Gear is available on PC, PS4, right?
And PS5.
Is there a PS5 version native?
There is PS5.
Okay. Awesome. There's a native PS5 version. So how is it? I guess. As someone who's not right, I'm dumb when it comes to fighting games, right? I'm just like, whatever. What is it? How is it?
Forward,
Circle forward. Yeah. Hey, don't keep saying it, dude. That is our fighting games podcast that we will do eventually, and I will not be a part of it. But no, right. As someone who's a novice to fighting games, all I've heard about Guilty Gear is people have been really excited for this, and usually most fighting games don't cross my roster, don't cross my radar, should I say. Cross my roster. But they don't cross my radar. I don't ever hear about them. But this one hit my radar quite a bit, because everyone was talking about the animation style, just the art style in general. The music has been bigged up quite a bit from what I've seen on Twitter. And then this... And you're going to excuse me, I'm going to sound like a dumbass, right? Rollback netcode, or whatever the fuck this is, right? That's like the big thing that I've been hearing about.
That has been the big selling point of this game.
Go on then, tell me all about it. Tell me all about Guilty Gear. Maybe don't start with the rollback netcode, maybe start with visuals and all that jazz and how it feels to play. Maybe let's start that way.
So, for I'll say this for anybody looking to get this game. If you do, play the tutorial. It will help you out with understanding everything. Even if you're familiar with other fighting games, like, every fighting game is different and has different rules for things, so playing the tutorial will give you is a very good starting point. I will say that about any fighting game ever. Stylistically, this game is very great. It's very exuberant. It's very, like, exaggerated in everything. It's made by Arc System Works, who also worked on other fighting games. They worked on the Persona 4 fighting game. They worked on Dragon Ball FighterZ. They worked on the Blaze Blue Tag Battle. They've played. Yeah, it is.
So they specialize in fighting games. Hunter is being backed.
That's basically exclusively what they do, and they went super over the top with their animations in Dragon Ball FighterZ, making it basically feel like you're playing the anime of Dragon Ball Z. So they're keeping a lot of kind of the over-the-top stylistic stuff from FighterZ, but more geared towards Guilty Gear.
Okay.
That wasn't intentional. Yeah, that was just words.
I get it.
Anyways, but yeah, the game is like super.
Funny, though.
Thank you, Hunter.
Did laugh. Hunter's just like, I laughed. Not actually laughing. He was just like, I laughed. But no.
Hunter's not allowed to show emotions.
So obviously, Arc System do a lot of fighting games. They're kind of one of the more prominent developers as of recent, I'd say, in the video game fighting space. You know, I feel like you'll always have your people like NetherRealm, and you'll always have, you know, those kinds of games like Mortal Kombat, like Street Fighter that still show up. But I think other than like the main big names in fighting games, Tekken, I'm going to mention Tekken before someone kills me. Arc System seems to be doing a lot of the games that people really like in the fighting game genre at the moment. Hunter, you just cannot win, bud. You just cannot win.
No, this sucks.
This is going to be
have dubstep going on in your background.
Yeah, genuinely. If you want to, if we can, quick tangent. Hunter's obviously got all this shenanigans out.
At least that can't be heard.
They've stopped. They've stopped the dubstep. Like, someone's been having a rave, like, on another street near me, and I've just been feeling the thuds of the fucking bass for, like, the past 2 hours, and it's finally stopped at 1 a.m. Hallelujah. But anyway, Guilty Gear, Arc System, very popular developer at the moment for fighting games. People are very excited, and it seems to be living up to a lot of people's expectations. Now, for someone, small brain, what is rollback netcode, and why is this so important for fighting games in particular, and why people praising it as much as they are, should I say?
So, the simplest way that I can explain rollback netcode is that it's basically like it's predicting the future. So, if your character is standing, and they've been standing for like 5 seconds, the game says, okay, you're standing, I'm gonna predict that you're gonna keep standing, and it basically just like, it anticipates what it thinks you're gonna do, so that, and if it doesn't, if you do something different, it can roll it back on one player's screen, so that it corrects itself, so that it's basically seamless. It's really hard to, it's kind of hard for me to explain. I don't fully understand it myself. There is a really great video made by Core A Gaming, who they talk about more of the specifics on how it works. But if any listeners keep up with the Super Smash Bros. Community, for example, getting Super Smash Bros. Melee online to work, that runs on rollback netcode.
Okay.
But from just playing basically exclusively online, there's a story mode. I haven't touched that yet. I've been playing online this whole time.
There is other content then.
Yeah, there is other content. There's a whole story mode to play through. I haven't touched anything in that yet. But the online is seamless. It's some of the best online I've ever played. And I genuinely can't say enough good about it. Bye, Hunter.
Hunter's gone, for audio listeners. Bit of a hectic one today, but hey. Yeah. Roll with us. Roll back with us. Haha. Badumts.
Haha.
But no. Guilty Gear is an interesting one because I'm not into fighting games, but I look at it and I'm like, hey, it's cool, and I like the art style a lot. And there seems to be a ton of personality with each of the characters. Like you say, there's a small roster, and it does feel like they have really tried to give them all unique vibes and personalities. Like even the music is very different for each character. Each character has basically their own playlist of songs. Which is interesting. One of them has a very Paramore-esque sound to it. Yeah, it's very
so
pop
good.
Punk aesthetic.
Maze theme. It's genuinely just misery business.
Cool. Yeah, it is. And there was another song of hers as well that I heard that also sounded very Paramore-y. There's a couple of them that I was like, oh yeah, I can see where they went with this. They very much went to straight pop punk, like noughties pop punk.
Majority of the soundtrack is like rock or metal, but there's a good variety to kind of showcase all the characters' personalities. I'm definitely a big fan of this soundtrack, and the fact that every character has their own unique vocal soundtrack is just such a nice touch.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Hunter.
You're gonna have to tell me where I need to edit there. By the way, just a heads up from Hunter. I've got an idea. Actually, I've written it down. I'm fine. I'll be good. I'll write it down. Cool. I'll be good. So other than online, other than story mode, you've mentioned there's a full story mode. I assume it's something similar to like regular fighting game story modes, or
it's probably just go through. I probably should have done my due diligence and tried it out, but
probably. But do people come here for a thorough?
The online was just so good. I didn't want to stop.
And I mean, the main reason you buy a fighting game is for the online. Let's be real. You're not going to buy it for I'm buying it for the story mode. Like, no, that's not what happens.
I did that for Soul Calibur.
Oh, for goodness.
I mean, I bought Soul Calibur for the character creator, so I can't judge.
Fighting game fans are weird.
It's a good character creator, Ethan.
I'll believe
Don't shake your head.
Creator.
Anyway. Thought you guys were going to continue talking longer then, so I took a drink. Sorry, guys. Awful professionalism on this episode. But no, other than story mode, other than online, is there anything else in the game?
Truthfully, not really.
Okay, interesting. So, it's a full price game, I assume. It's a full price release. Is it worth it, would you say, so far?
Coming from a point of bias, yes, I would say it is. But for looking at it from anybody new to fighting games looking to get into them, I would definitely say wait for it to go on sale. Arxis games go on sale pretty often. But if you have been wanting to get into a fighting game, but there hasn't been any being released, and you're like, okay, Guilty Gear, this is the hot new thing, get it if you want to try it out. Like, this is going to be the hot new fighting game that everyone talks about. I think it's already got a spot in EVO. I could be wrong on this, but I think it already does, or like side event at EVO for this year. So, like, this game is definitely going to be the new hotness. So
I'm sure it will be.
Definitely, it's going to have a long life ahead of it, especially with how good the online is. Fighting games genuinely live and die by their online, and this game is going to just continue to thrive.
Yeah.
Guilty Gear Thrive.
I saw that coming as soon as I said it, and I did nothing to stop it.
You should have said it yourself, just so you didn't have a chance to. But I'm glad you're enjoying it. It does look
glad
good.
I am too.
Well, most of the time, whenever Cal comes, right? Okay, I'm just gonna let him be in his own little world while we just carry on. What I was going to say was, it's nice to hear you talking about like a new game that you've liked, because for the last couple that we forced you to play for the podcast, except for Miles, which you enjoyed, it's been like, why have you made me do this? So it's like, hey,
Miles was really fucking good, dude.
Yeah, it is very good.
That's a good video game.
Yeah, Insomniac are really good.
I will say this. One small little nitpick I have with the game is that it's not even to do with the game itself. It's to do with some settings. So in other Arxis games, there's a language option where you can toggle you can set individual voices to be either English or Japanese. that's just not a thing in this game, and I don't know why they wouldn't include it. It's either just all English or all Japanese.
You'd assume that's something that they'd probably add in a post-patch at some point. It was probably something where... Be. My guess would probably be they were getting close to going gold, and they were just like, what feasibly can we add, and what is like... It's probably one of those things where it's like, yeah, I can see them adding that in like a month or two as like a as part of a season update or a patch or whatever have you.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But no, glad to hear you're enjoying it. I'm sure you'll talk about it a lot more in the coming weeks and so, because...
Oh, yeah.
It's a fighting game, and when you start playing a fighting game, then that usually ends up being the only thing you end up playing for a while, so...
I've already started tweeting clips.
Well, that's a good sign. On the other end, this week, we've had so many releases this week. I don't know about you, Hunter. I haven't even touched FF7. I just genuinely haven't touched it.
I played for like 45 minutes.
Oh, just to check the 60 FPS mode?
Of the Yuffie stuff.
Of the Yuffie stuff.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
There isn't ray tracing in FF7 Remake. Very disappointed, I'm sure.
Or isn't there? Do you know what ray tracing is, Ethan?
No, but the guys at Digital Foundry told me.
It's tracked back to the source.
The guys at Digital Foundry were like, yeah, guys, there's no ray tracing on this one. Very sad. I'm like, I don't give a shit, to be honest. Although, we'll get to that, because there's this other game that came out this week called... I've literally put Rack Ripped on my timestamp sheet, but yeah, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart came out this week, and both myself and Hunter have played it. Hunter, how much have you played of Ratchet, out of curiosity? Hours-wise?
A few hours. I don't know how long.
I know I've played more than you. I've played roughly about 8 hours. I only have roughly about 7 hours of progress, because we'll get into that. But I've played for about 8.5 hours, I think.
I'd say maybe like 4.
I think I'm like halfway through the game, probably. I'm probably around the halfway point, maybe more, maybe less, I don't know. And just to specify, I have been doing everything. So every collectible that showed up, I've gone and got them as much as I can. I've been literally 100% in each planet and moving on. So there you go, just in case you're wondering, just in case... People are like, hang on, people have finished it in 6 hours. I'm like, yeah, I actually I'm doing all the shit.
People have finished it in 6 hours.
I'm also...
Ethan, what the shit? Aren't you a speedrunner?
I should also specify...
Aren't you supposed to be fast at these
games?
This
is also unusual for me. I'm playing this game on the hardest difficulty as well. I am playing on the hard mode, and it's not that hard, but it's actually a fun challenge. It's like it's not like peaking and I instantly die. But no, if you want an actual challenge, definitely put it on the hardest difficulty. That's my first recommendation for this game, because the game seems easy on any other difficulty. Because I'm not dying that much on the hardest mode, but there are times like in the challenge arenas where I'm like, oh shit, I have to actually think about this for a second. Like, oh, I need to strategize. That's interesting, because usually in a Ratchet and Clank game, you can close your eyes and just fucking point forward and just spam R2 and go, I'm winning, guys. I think I'm near the end.
I have the shotgun like fully upgraded, and the last boss I encountered, I just pointed at and it died.
It died,
before
yeah.
I ran out of ammo.
No, that's definitely something that can happen. But no, I definitely would recommend, if you are playing this game and you've played a Ratchet and Clank game before, put it on hard mode. Also, recommendation, I gave it to Hunter. Play in Performance RT mode. That is the way to play the game, because it's 60 FPS and it has Kyle's favourite buzzword, ray tracing.
It's just a buzzword to me.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means.
It's we'll
like
get
teraflops.
We'll get into ray tracing. I understand ray tracing more than I understand teraflops, dude. I still don't know what fucking teraflops mean. Like, people are like, oh yeah, PS4 was 1 teraflop, the PS5's like 10.8 or whatever teraflops, and I'm like, oh, 10 times. And like, no, that's not how teraflops work.
I think I've told you guys this. I thought teraflops was just like a fake word people made up.
Yeah, that Phil Spencer made, dude. Yeah, it was a fake word that Phil Spencer made to sell Xboxes, guys. That's what.
Not like an actual term.
Yeah, it's an actual term, but it's like...
I never knew what it meant, but, you know.
It's arbitrary as shit. But anyway, I digress. Play it on Fidelity RT, because Performance RT, not Fidelity RT. Performance RT, because 160 FPS is really great. I've said this before. I hope this is the standard now. I hope every game that we get, like this gets a 60 FPS option from the get-go that isn't 4K, because if those are the trade-offs, if it's like, oh, do you want to play at a decent frame rate instead of playing it in shiny 4K, I'm like, yeah, just give me the frame rate. But yeah, man, I'll throw it to you, Hunter, first. What are your initial impressions of Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart?
Oh, I've been having a lot of fun with it so far.
It's really good. I hate, like, 2016 Ratchet and Clank. I know a lot of people have a lot of mixed opinions on that video game. My opinion is that it was good, but it wasn't great. It's probably the worst mainline Ratchet and Clank game, in my opinion. From a gameplay perspective, because the gameplay isn't that great, but mainly from story perspective, because you just get shitty cutscenes, movie cutscenes, and terrible writing. The writing in this game is fucking phenomenal. Really Ratchet and Clank is back. This doesn't feel cheap like the remake did. It genuinely feels like... There is a line by Dr. Nefarious. I don't know if you picked up on it, Hunter, but it's at the start of the boss battle where basically Nefarious is... The whole story behind Rift Apart, Kyle, is Clank has rebuilt a device called the Dimensionator, which is from a game, which is from Tools of Destruction, which is basically... It's a device that lets people go between dimensions, and that's why the Lombaxes don't exist. Ratchet is the last Lombax because all the Lombaxes moved to a different dimension to hide from a group of... basically a race that was trying to exterminate all Lombaxes. Clank's rebuilt that now and is basically giving it to Ratchet as a gift to say, you've helped me so much, it's time for you to go and find your race, basically go find your family. And before he has a chance, Nefarious shows up and he's like, ha, mine now. We're going to go to a dimension where I always win because I'm sick of losing to you guys.
Oh my god. Dude, why didn't Cortex think to do that?
It's a great idea. But there's a cutscene, like, basically he's hired goons, they fail to kill Ratchet, and a load of shit's gone wrong.
He's just talking to them?
And the dimensions the dimensions are just collapsing and everything. And before there's a boss fight, it's the first boss fight of the game, there's a line where fucking Nefarious is sick of, like, losing and shit like that. And he says, this is why I shouldn't have given my assistant paid paternity leave. And it made me fucking die. Like, I honestly cried. The fact that he, like, as a villain so progressive, this is like just like the most progressive thing for Nefarious to ever say. It was like, this is why I shouldn't have given my assistant paid paternity leave. I was literally crying. The writing in this game for a Ratchet and Clank game is phenomenal. And I remember hearing early impressions of this game where people were like, oh, I actually cared about the characters and the story in this, because most platformers, you don't really give a shit. It's like Crash 4, right? Story's fine, but you're just laughing and you're going, Cortex, you scamp. You don't care. You're not invested. You're not like, oh, I wonder if Cortex is actually good, guys. I hope he doesn't turn on us again.
I hope he doesn't turn on us.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas this story, like, Ratchet and Clank and Rivet have so much personality and character in this game that I am genuinely engaged, where I'm like, oh, I do wonder where this story is going. Like, not in a way where I'm like, oh, I'm just going to be shocked. And it's got to be said that Jennifer Hale as Rivet is fucking... I really love this performance. Like, I hate to jump on that train. I hate to be like, everyone was horny on Rivet for day one, right? Before, like, literally, as soon as they saw her on E3, there were already people that had changed their profile pictures, who were already standing. Dude. They were already like, this is my furry waifu now. And I'm like, okay, no. But actually getting into the game, I really like her character.
Jennifer Hale is good at, like, everything she does. So,
I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm like, I'm going to be mad when this game's over and we're just back to Ratchet and Clank, because I kind of like the Rivet and Clank dynamic where I'm like, if Ratchet died, I could get used to this. I genuinely could get used to Rivet being the main character in this series.
I can't remember the line that Clank said. Oh, right. It was like, let's go kill or kick some robot butt or something. And Clank was like, I have many problems with that statement. But okay.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. There are so many good lines. And it's like the sidekick guy. There's this sidekick as well, who's also really well written.
Gary.
Who's like a hippie. Yeah, he's like a hippie sidekick, and he's called Gary. And honestly, it just made me laugh so hard, because he was like talking about... It's like, imagine like a Doctor Strange kind of like reality where everything's like bending and everything. He's in his like namaste peace form, and he's like a fucking glowing aura around him and everything, and he's like, my name's Gary, and I just fucking pissed myself laughing, because it was just like out of nowhere. I just laughed so hard. But no, story writing so fucking well done. And what's also so well done is this game. I feel like for a while everyone's been saying, "Oh, Ratchet's the game where we'll be like, oh, next gen's here." And looking at it, man, I'm just like, fuck, how is this possible? Like, it looks so damn good. Like, it's not bait. Those trailers weren't bait. It looks better than it did a year ago when we first saw it. The rave started up again. Fuck. But no, it looks great. Honestly,
it's Club Nefarious.
It is Club Nefarious, dude. I don't know about you, Hunter, but when I saw the game like running in action, I was just like blown away. I'm like, damn, this game actually fucking looks incredible. Like, it's amazing.
Oh yeah, it looks real nice. I enjoy it quite a bit as far as that going. I liked the like even on just the loading screen, I was like, when I switched it over, I was like, wow.
You can really tell the difference.
It was really fluid.
Yeah. And honestly, the first 15 minutes of this game are like a joy. It is like an Uncharted level set piece in a Ratchet and Clank game, and it is brilliant. Where it's like you start off and you're like,
with
there's
better
this
gameplay too.
Yeah, there's this like there's this ceremony, Kyle, where you've got Ratchet. Basically, they're at like this ceremony and you're doing stuff. You're going from float to float, and eventually goons for less, who are thugs for less, but they've rebranded for some reason. Which they make a joke about. They do say, "Oh, they rebranded." I'm like, why did they rebrand? Like, you can't just say they rebranded as if that's the joke. I'm like, what's the fucking joke behind it? Anyway, but no. So when Nefarious finally shows up, he destroys a load of the blimp, and he's like, all of the kind of floats are like separating and they're breaking apart, and you're doing grind rails between the broken floats as it's flying through the city. And it's like fucking incredible, and it's doing the Final Fantasy transitions, it's doing the Uncharted transitions, where it's doing the thing where it's just like in and out of gameplay cutscenes with smooth, like no cuts, whatever. You can't tell that there's any difference in quality or whatever. There's no, oh, this is where the cutscene starts. This is where the gameplay starts. It literally is just going between them all the time, and it's just like,
yeah,
it's crazy, and. There is no loading in this game. There is genuinely no loading in this video game. You swapped between planets, and you'll just have like them fly up on a ship. And if you're playing, planets are split between Ratchet and Rivet in this game. And if you're switching characters, you'll just hear like one of them say, "Oh, I wonder how Ratchet's doing," or "Hey, I hope Rivet's holding up." And then literally it'll just go black screen straight away, moves to a planet. You see the planet, and you're just in it straight away. It's kind of like mind-blowing. And the Rift thing, I thought it'd be like, oh yeah, I thought it'd be like, yeah, it's gimmicky or whatever, but it is kind of cool when you see that original trailer where they're hopping through portal after portal after portal, and you're like, oh yeah, they've just made that for the trailer or whatever. And that is a gameplay section that's right at the start of the game, and it works better than it did in that trailer. Like, people are like, oh, I can see stutters in the trailer, or I can see how there's lag going between things. Now it's literally just going, like, literally just falling through dimensions like it's just fucking eye candy, and they're just like, yeah, maybe that's a real planet that you'll come to later. Maybe it's just a little bit that we added for shits and giggles. We're just gonna load
for
it
flair.
In.
Yeah,
it's really damn impressive. And the gameplay's just great. It's really well done. The weapon variety is so damn good as well.
Oh yeah.
I've always hated Mr. Zircon, right? I've always hated Mr. Zircon as a weapon. I think I brought this up on, like, he's the most useless weapon of all time, where you just throw him out and he's like, Mr. Zircon is ready to kill. He's funny. He's funny.
I liked him.
He's a funny guy, right? He makes some funny jokes, and his family come out. We'll get to Zircon in a minute. But, you know, as a weapon, he was always shit, because he just literally fired a couple of bullets, and he never seemed to kill anything, at least for me, unless it was like little grunts. He'd never kill anything. His equivalent in this game is called Mr. Fungi, which I love. It's a great little pun, because he is literally just a little mushroom, but he just makes little quips as well. But he's like a better Mr. Zircon, because he actually fucking rocks. He just kills everything, dude. Like, honestly.
Yeah, he was doing some work when I threw him out.
He destroys. He's great. You mentioned the shotgun, which is really cool. Yeah. How you can fire one barrel if you half press the trigger, and then if you full press it, it fires both of them at the same time, but takes longer to reload. That's kind of cool.
I found myself just kind of double pressing the single fire for some reason.
Oh, instead?
I can't explain why. I've been doing that instead of pushing it all the way, but I've been doing that.
There's some cool stuff with the adaptive triggers. There's also some really dumb shit, like the grenade glove. If you hold it down halfway, it'll do like the aiming reticle that it used to do with L2, which you can still do with L2. So if you're like me and you're still using L2, that's completely fucking pointless, and you just mash the R2 button anyway. So that's a bit dumb, but there's some cool weapons. Man, I just love this game, like genuinely.
The topiary sprinkler.
The topiary sprinkler is fucking hilarious. You just throw it down and it waters them, and then they just turn into a topiary shrub, and they're just frozen for a bit, so you can just fire at them for a couple of seconds, and then they'll. There's some funny quips as well. Like I heard someone scream, "I don't want to be a topiary," like literally, and it was just so funny. But yeah, and also speaking of the Zircons are still in the game. One of all 3 Zircons are in the game, and I love the way Miss Zircon is the weapon vendor in this game, which I think is quite funny. So she'll say stuff. Mr. Zircon is now in the new dimension is a pacifist who runs a bar, which I think is the most hilarious thing ever. Where you just literally take Mr. Zircon, who is like, and he's just like, there's that great line where Rivet and what's his name? Pierre, is it? Rusty Pete's equivalent in the new universe, who's called Pierre, who is just a French pirate. They're like beefing with each other and they're gonna fight, and Mr. Zircon's just like taken outside. I just thought that was hilarious. Like, and then you've got Zircon Jr. And then you got Zircon Jr., who is voiced by...
It certainly sounds like Richard Horvitz.
It is Richard Horvitz, yeah.
Okay.
And he not only does the previews to the weapons in the vending machine, but he also does the...
Delightful.
He's like an actual dream, and like he doesn't phone anything in. Like, if you want, like, honestly, if you want to hear like the worst, best performance ever, like, honestly, like, he's screaming his lines and he's just like going all in on them, and I love it. But he's also, not only does he do those, he also does the commentary for the arena battles in this game, which is hilarious, where he'll just start screaming at you and stuff like that. Man, Richard Horvitz is great. But no, man, there's so much in this game that's cool. One bit, I'm not going to talk about it too much because I know Hunter has not got to this planet yet, but there is a planet where later on in the game that uses the SSD, where you switch between 2 versions of the same planet back and forth instantly. You like hit a rock and it'll transport you to the other version of the planet, and you can swap between them at will by hitting things. And there's no cheats. They're both loaded in full at each time. So literally it just takes a second and the next map's loaded, and you just swap between them constantly to solve puzzles and stuff like that, which I thought was a really cool little mechanic as well. But man, it's just...
Wow.
It's damn good. Have you had any problems with the game, Hunter, so far?
Not like anything major. The little mini games that they've had you do with like the little robot. In the
Glitch
City one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The little mini game there I could have done without. I was like, eh.
There's a couple more of them, I think, as well in the game.
It wasn't like experience ruining, or it's not like as dumb as the Spider-Man mini games by any stretch of the imagination, but I didn't enjoy it that much.
You can also skip them, I believe. You can just press the pause button and skip them if you would like to. But yeah, they're a bit of a weird one.
The Clank puzzles I could also do with that.
I like the Clank puzzles, but that's also because I liked the Clank puzzles in a cracking time. So I'm like, I like those puzzles. I can see why people wouldn't, and I'm glad there's an option for, like, especially for speedruns, to just be like, nah, back out, fucking skip. Like, I'm glad that's a thing, because it would get a bit ludicrous on multiple playthroughs having to do the same slow burn kind of puzzles. But yeah, my only other problem with this game is that it bricked my console for a little bit. That was my only other problem.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
Yeah. There's a section of the game where you have hover boots, and there's like a race where you race across a area where the floor is kind of generating in front of you, and you've got to kind of zoom across as quickly as possible without falling off. And I did fall off. I was too quick for the falling floor, and I fell through an area where I don't think I was supposed to fall. And the game just black screened, and it never came back. And I tried to close application, and it was stuck on closing app for 5 minutes and it never closed. So then I had to turn my PlayStation off, and then it was just flashing white, and like it was doing the blinking that it does when it turns off a console. It was doing that for 5 minutes as well. So then I had to hard turn it off by holding the PlayStation button for like 30 seconds. Then when I turned it on, I had to repair my hard drive, and it corrupted my save, and it was a great fun time. I lost
I'm trying to
90 minutes of progress.
What would have happened if Bastion crashed anytime I fell off the floor in that game, because Bastion's half of its aesthetic is just the fact that the floor around you comes up as you walk.
Yeah, I honestly think that this is like, I don't think this is like because of the PS5 or the PS5 being bought or whatever. I genuinely think it was a soft lock where it's one of those things like, you know, when you play an old PS1 game and you die out of or a PS2 game, it's like in Twinsanity when you die out of bounds and it crashes the game because the game doesn't know what to do because it's not programmed to have you die there. I think it was that, but because the PS5 has no way to go, the game's crashed, without it, if it doesn't get a blue screen of an error occurred and the game just crashes like that and it kind of just soft locks your console, the console doesn't know what to do. And when you try and close the app, it can't close the app because the fucking thing's crashed and it won't successfully close. So I just think it was a problem with how the console detects hard locks, I guess. But no, it was a very weird experience.
You managed to go out of bounds and come back just
fine. I've managed to go out of bounds so many times in this game. But that's my fault because I've just been pissing about. Like, I just keep seeing that there's invisible walls, and I'm like, well, invisible walls are made to be climbed. Like, you climb invisible walls. That's what they do. They give you like this. You get the rift tether, and you get like this gauntlet that lets you do phase dashes, which essentially let you. They give you invincibility, but they also allow you to move horizontally, I guess, through different areas and through different things. But what I don't think they realized they could do was, for a lot of invisible walls, they'll have it so that it only goes high enough where it's like, if you wall bounce off it, you can actually get to the height above the invisible wall, but there's no way for you to get over it because you just double jumped away from it because you wall jumped away from it. No, with the phase dash, you could then just phase the other way and get on top of a lot of walls, and I've done it quite a bit. I've got a photo on Twitter of Rivet on top of a mountain that you're not supposed to get on top of, and I'm just like chilling, just being like, yeah, let's go. And I've been doing, like, there's been a couple of places where I've been able to do that. But this was the only time that I accidentally went out of bounds and I hard locked, which I thought was hilarious. So I guess be careful, be slow on that section, I guess, because it's happened to other people. But other than that, that's my only fault with it so far. I guess that's my only fault that I have with it, is maybe you might hard lock your console if you're too quick. But I'm also only halfway through the game. So yeah. Is it worth it, Hunter? That's the question I'll throw to you, I guess.
Oh, yeah. The new name of our reviews. I would imagine that by the time I'm done with it, I will think so. I've been enjoying it so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it will be. It'll be interesting to see. I've got to write the review for this one, so it'll be interesting. I have to write it so Hunter doesn't have to go and talk about E3 of 2020
if I have
again.
to talk about the PlayStation 5 reveal in 2020 again, I'm going to rip my eyes out.
It's fun. You love it. But no, I think it'll be worth it. I think it's worth it. It just depends. Maybe if you aren't inclined to spend $70 on like a 15-hour game, then maybe wait a bit. But if you just want to play a next gen game, then yeah, I feel like this is the start of next gen, and I feel like it was going to be the only next gen game for a long time. Now that Horizon and God of War are going to be cross gen, they'll still look great and still be great on PS5. But I feel like this is the first and last example of Sony Studios doing something exclusively for PlayStation 5 that isn't Housemarque, obviously, but Housemarque are on their own. But no, that's all I have to say about Rack. And that's it, I guess. What do we have to talk about? Now it's anyone's game. Has anyone got anything that we can bring up? Because we're 45 minutes in, and that's it.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, we're really...
Fuck it, call it an episode.
I can't wait till games come out, then we can actually talk about things. This is the shortest amount of time we've talked for...
Join us at the end of June for our next double episode where we talk about Scarlet Nexus and Mario Golf.
And that'll be 20 minutes long. Can't wait. Do you want to very quickly talk about your very brief impressions of Final Fantasy with them real quick? Because you did say you played like an hour of it.
Oh. Yeah, okay. It was closer to like 45 minutes, but yeah.
Okay.
So far I've been enjoying, or I liked what they were doing. I, in the original version, never cared about Yuffie. Mm-hmm. She was kind of dumb. And I can understand that they didn't put much effort into her, perhaps because she was a completely missable character.
Optional party member.
But on the other hand, Vincent was really cool, so it's fun.
Vampire with a shotgun, hell yeah.
But
God, I can't wait for Vincent in Remake. He's gonna be so cool.
It'll be so cool. But in the first minute or so, they managed to get me to like Yuffie. So the remake is continuing the trend of taking characters I didn't really care for and making me enjoy them. So, yeah. Aside from that, her playstyle is cool. Like, it feels different enough from everyone else. I quite enjoy it. Like, her little throwing star, you got the close-up thing, and then you can, like, throw it at enemies, and then you can do, like, this weird magic. And I think you have a ability that will elementize that. Anytime that your throwing star is still out, you can call it back to you whenever you feel like.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
Can you play as her other party member?
You can't.
Haven't got to them yet.
Okay.
But yeah,
I don't know. I haven't been following Intergrade stuff, so I don't know what is and isn't there.
You can't. So I was going to ask, but if you haven't come up across him yet, then I guess we can't ask about it because you genuinely are. You just play as Yuffie. You do not play as whatever his name is.
Sonon, I believe, was his name.
I believe you can command him, so I believe you can press like R2 or L2 when he's got his bars, his ATB gauge is filled, and you can tell him what to do, but I don't think you don't have manual control over him like you do the other characters.
That's a bit of a bummer, but...
I think it's 100% because this is
sweet moves.
Yeah, I think this is 100%.
I mean, yeah, he's not going to stay in part 2, so it makes sense. He's
probably going to die.
It's probably this is like a stop. Like this is like a half stop where they were like, oh, we've programmed Yuffie for remake part 2 now. We can do something with her before we add her in the next part. So that's my whole thing. Have you been playing in which mode have you been playing in? Have you been playing in 60 FPS or have you been playing in 4K? Whatever. This is why Hunter says he doesn't know, and then we smack him.
I'll be honest, I don't know.
Ray tracing.
Whatever it was set on when I started is what it's doing.
Okay.
So
cool.
I'm not gonna smack you, Hunter, because I would do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you shit?
Whatever makes it work.
Would you shit? You telling me that you're gonna? Yeah, okay, Kyle. Okay, I believe you. I believe that if you booted up Kingdom Hearts 4 and it ran at 30 FPS and played like Ash, you wouldn't go, oh yes, this. I'll just keep it as this, and you wouldn't go into the menu and go, where's the 60 FPS toggle give? I do not believe.
Ethan, I don't notice this kind of stuff.
You do, but you just don't admit it because everyone will go, oh. But 0.2 fragmentary passage runs like ass. And I'm like, yes, it does, because it's a shitty frame rate problem. That's the thing.
Don't know, never played it.
There. You all know it, you just refuse to believe it.
Because it's a tech demo.
Yeah, okay. I believe you, Nomura. Okay. But no.
A tech demo that's a part of the timeline.
But no,
Thank you, Nomura. You crazy, crazy man.
I guess we can talk about what the enhancements were for Remake Intergrade, because I do know those. I did look up what the differences were. One mode is full on 4K, 30 FPS. They've added like fog effects and shadows, and they've redone the lighting system and stuff like that. One thing I really liked the look of is I saw someone showed what the new night market looks like at night time. Yeah, Cloud's new door looks pretty hot, dude. It looks like it wasn't born in the PS2 era. It's pretty cool.
The fact that Square posted a picture of the door comparison on their Twitter.
My favorite part is my favorite part is how Digital Foundry brought it up, and they were like, Yeah, this isn't the power of PS5. This is literally just an issue with the PS4. They can't be the PS4 version. They just can't be bothered to patch from the looks of it because it's just basically what the problem is it's loading the fucking asset from what you're supposed to look at it from a distance. Like it's loading in the low polygon version, which is supposed to be replaced with a high asset version. It just never replaces it, and it's like the higher version is in the game. They could patch it, but they just haven't. They just fixed it on the PS5. Of course they have, because it's fucking Square Enix.
Way to go, Square.
But yeah, it's 4K 30. They've added a whole new. They've done all the detail work. You've got like assets don't look like ass anymore. They fixed a lot of the skyboxes from the looks of it, which I'm glad, because the skyboxes were shit in Remake. No one can argue that those skyboxes weren't awful.
It was like the character models were siphoning the power from the sky,
genuinely.
So the sky was really bad.
Genuinely, I love ruining. I love ruining Sector 7 for everybody by going, yeah, you're enjoying Sector 7. Well, look at the skybox as you're moving around, and then they're like, oh god, you've ruined this whole area for me because it looks like ass and it just doesn't move. And I'm like, yeah, it does. Isn't it?
It's a good thing half the game takes place in a factory.
Yeah, I really. Well, I mean, in part 2, they won't have to do a big city again with big city skyboxes like that. So hopefully the skyboxes will be better in part 2. But man, were they shit. They're better now. And then there's a performance mode, which is 60 FPS, some bollocks resolution that no one cares about because 60 FPS, really. But it still has all the volumetric lighting and stuff like that. There's no ray tracing, but it's at 60 FPS. Just lowered resolution.
Tragic.
Yeah, truly tragic. No ray trace reflections. I didn't even talk about the ray trace reflections for Rift Apart. They're alright. They're pretty cool.
Oh yeah, Clank is shiny.
Clank is shiny. It's pretty cool. Yeah. No, the big.
Oh man, ray traced Cloud's Buster Sword. It'd be so shiny.
Oh, the thing about
dude, ray traced materia.
Yeah, the one thing that where I was like, oh, ray tracing's the one thing where I was like, oh, that's ray tracing was. With Dr. Nefarious, he has a ship that's in the shape of his fucking domed head, his fucking green domed head.
Of course he does.
And there's a cutscene where he's talking through the dome, like you can still see the dome, and you could actually. I was like, oh, you can see the fucking cars on the reflection, like in the behind the like where behind the camera flying past, and you could see like the skyline. I was like, oh, that's what ray tracing's supposed to be for. It's supposed to make it look like it's immersive instead of. I'm like, oh, and I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Back to whatever.
Yeah,
it's like it's cool looking.
Just it tracks where the light source would be in the world and like adjusts it. So
yeah, it bounces.
That's why people have mentioned that
it bounces light the way it should.
People have mentioned that like The Last of Us 2 shouldn't have a ray tracing thing because a lot of the lighting in The Last of Us is unnatural because things are lit where they shouldn't be in the world, just so you can see. So
yeah, it is, but no. Ray tracing's decent. No ray tracing in Remake. No nothing in Remake. My favourite part was the installation process for Remake, which was a fucking nightmare.
Oh my god. Dude, the process of getting the PlayStation 5 upgrade was the most convoluted and annoying thing.
And the thing is, I've done these upgrades before. For Watch Dogs, it was fucking piss, because literally you insert the PS4 disc, and there's literally a big button next to play that says PS5 upgrade free, and then I clicked that and downloaded it. With Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, one, it didn't like that I already had the PS4 version installed. It was acting as if I didn't own it. And then it was acting like the PS Plus version was my version where I had a disc, so I had to uninstall it. And then I put in the installation disc. That didn't work, so it started installing the PS4 version again, so I had to uninstall it again and then fucking inject that. Then put the Play disc in, the one that doesn't have any data on it. Then, after that, I could go to the PlayStation Store, type in Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, and find the PS5 upgrade, click free, and then that did it. That's what did it. Also, have I lagged out? Hello?
I don't think so. I can see you.
Okay.
Hello?
Sound good.
Kyle looks a bit laggy. Did Kyle lag out?
Did he? Kyle, move.
he's stuttering, but it's fine.
Oh, it is choppy.
It's choppy, but it's fine. We'll live with it. But no.
Yeah, I've got one bar on my Discord, so.
Oh no.
It's fine.
We're living with it.
Towards the tail end of my play session with the Yuffie thing, they introduced the mini game of the little intermission.
Oh fuck.
Which Yeah,
it looked like, is it like a tower defense or something? It looked like it was some kind of weird fucking...
It's sort of, because you're defending your own and trying to...
Fort
Condor from the original game has been reworked to be this board game that you play against other people. So they've like taken this weird concept from the original Final Fantasy VII that was this really slow-paced strategy thing and turned it into a board game that functions like Tetra Master from 9, where it seems like you can just go challenge. Well, the rules are more understandable in this, at least. I didn't know what half the cards did in Final Fantasy IX's card game, but or you can just like go challenge whoever you feel like.
Yeah, I'm not looking.
Oh, it's like
triple
triad then.
Well, yeah,
like Final Fantasy VIII.
I remember, yeah.
That's just the card game from 9, but 8 did it.
Yeah, I remember
8 did
hearing
it better.
I don't know. I haven't played 8 yet.
I remember hearing that someone was like,
good game, guys.
God, that's right. Someone was like mentioned that there was a mini game in intermission, and I was just like, I'm not even gonna read it because I'm gonna be pissed before I even fucking play the video game. Because I'm like, I hate these shitty fucking mini games. Like, the only mini game that I'll accept is the fucking aerobics mini game from original Final Fantasy VII, where you have to do pull-ups and shit. I'll take that. That was great.
Oh, the one where he does squats?
Yeah, mainly because, and you did pull-ups with Tifa, mainly because you got, like, this fucking sick, like, 80s kind of gym version of the fucking
you weren't
battle
a fan
theme.
of the darts?
The darts was alright. It was a bit shit, though, because as soon as you knew what you were doing, it was, like, kind of arbitrary. But no, I'm looking forward to playing Intergrade. I'm looking forward to it. I'll probably get around to it next week. Probably. We'll see. Because I'll probably have Ratchet done by like tomorrow or the day after because of how much I've been playing it. Oh no, we've got to fucking watch it for Bethesda tomorrow. I take it back.
Yeah, we have to watch things tomorrow.
Very cringe.
Yesterday.
Yeah, just like
yesterday.
Yeah, very cringe. Just like this fucking Discord connection right now. I feel like, should I hop the server real quick? Should I hop the server? Nah, it's fine.
Will
it's coming.
Kill our call?
Nah, we're fine. The episode's almost over.
That's fine. We can wrap it up if you want. We can have an early end. We can have like an hour episode. It's like 57.5 minutes. We can just like wrap it up if you want. And say, hey,
I don't think
the
there's
reason
anything
that
else.
Yeah. No, I think we're good. The main reason is short episode because E3 and reviewers are going up like crazy, so you'll have plenty of content from us this week. So we do apologize for the shorter episode. But if you want more from us, you can head on over to the YouTube, where we'll be posting all week. So you're all good. With that, though, yeah, I think we're good. It's a very short episode, but hey, there you go. Short and sweet. No 2 hours. We'll live. As always, our links are on screen. Now you can go and follow us on Twitter or YouTube. You get all the socials. Go and find us. Links are always in the description as well, if you care for them. As always, you can go and follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to both of our YouTube channels, and if you want to, head to the link tree down below where you can find us on all your favorite podcast services such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Any reviews and feedback, great to hear them. Leave them in the comments or at us on Twitter at HardGamesOnly. That'd be great. But no, with that has been our show. Thank you ever so much for listening or watching. We'll be back for plenty this week, but for the regular podcast we'll be back next week for more. But until then, have an awesome week, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.